You have been taught to chase wealth, to hunt it down with desperate fervor. That is precisely why it eludes you. The truth is a profound paradox. Genuine magnetic wealth is never pursued. It is a consequence, a shadow that appears only when you turn your back to it and face a much greater light. This is not another financial tip. It is a fundamental rewiring of the very mechanism of your mind. Imagine a man, breathless, chasing after paper notes carried on the wind. The more frantically he grasps, the more they dance away, mocking his effort. This image represents the energy of 99% of humanity. Their pursuit is fueled by need, by a sense of lack, and this frantic energy is a repellent. Wealth, like any form of power, is repulsed by desperation and irresistibly drawn to composure, to structure, and to an almost indifferent sense of purpose. It seeks not the needy, but the worthy vessel. This desperate focus on making money triggers the most primitive parts of the human brain, the centers of fear and survival. In this state, your vision narrows, your thinking becomes short-term, and your decisions are governed by immediate gain or loss. You become a tactician in a daily skirmish, blind to the grand strategy of the entire war. The true titan of industry is not worried about the day's battle. He is designing the map upon which all future battles will be won by default. I remember the precise moment this truth crystallized for me. It was not in a boardroom, but while observing the methodical rhythmic process of a refinery. My focus shifted from the numbers in a ledger, the effects, to the efficiency of the machine itself, the cause. I realized that if I could perfect the system, make it flawless, and eliminate every ounce of waste, the profits would not simply follow. They would be an inevitable, almost automatic, consequence of a perfectly ordered process. To make money, your primary goal is to choose the most impoverished of all ambitions. Money is a phantom, an infinitely shifting target with no soul and no intrinsic meaning. It cannot inspire the devotion required for true excellence, the pursuit of order, the creation of an elegant system, the solving of a grand problem for millions. These are the ambitions that ignite the human spirit and command the universe's resources. They provide a reason to strive beyond mere accumulation. Consider the fundamental difference between the hunter of money and the builder of value. The hunter lives transaction to transaction, seeking shortcuts and exploiting temporary inefficiencies. His gains are fleeting. The builder, however, is an architect. He constructs perennial machines of value, systems that operate and generate wealth long after his direct effort has ceased. He does not chase the fruit. He meticulously cultivates the orchard that will bear fruit for generations. The first step in this mental transformation is to ask yourself a disarmingly simple question. What great machine would I build if money were not the objective, but merely the incidental fuel required for its construction? Answering this question honestly is the beginning of a journey away from the barren desert of financial pursuit and into the fertile fields of true creation, where wealth grows naturally, like wheat under a benevolent sun. We must first recalibrate our very definition of value. Value is not synonymous with hard work, complexity, or even novelty. In its purest form, value is the creation of order where chaos once reigned. It is the elegant and scalable solution to a nagging human problem, the removal of friction from the pathways of commerce and life. It is the simple, repeatable act that makes someone's existence measurably better, safer, or more efficient. Think of every dollar that enters your possession not as a reward, but as a receipt. It is a paper voucher confirming that you have successfully delivered a unit of tangible value into the world. If you wish to possess more of these receipts, your focus must be entirely on the mechanism of production, not on the collection and counting of the paper itself. The man who obsesses over his stack of receipts while his factory falls into disrepair is a fool, destined for poverty. My obsession was never with the price of a barrel of oil. It was with the quality of light. I thought of the millions of homes, shrouded in darkness or relying on dangerous, expensive whale oil. My purpose was to create a system that could deliver a safe, reliable, and affordable stream of light to every corner of the nation. I focused on the utility, on the societal transformation, and the profits became a secondary calculation, a mere measure of my success in that primary mission. To find your own wellspring of value, you must learn to see the world differently. Do not scan the horizon for money-making opportunities. Instead, train your eyes to see the grit in the gears of daily life. Look for the points of friction, the widespread inefficiencies, the common frustrations, and the problems people have resigned themselves to enduring. Within each of these is the seed of a great enterprise, a fortune waiting to be unlocked not by greed, but by ingenuity. Moreover, it is not enough to simply solve a problem. The great fortunes are built upon solving a problem at immense scale. The principle of leverage is paramount. A system that brings a small convenience to 10 million people is infinitely more powerful and magnetically attractive to capital than one that brings a great convenience to only 100. The architecture of your solution must be designed for massive replication from its very inception. As a mental exercise, begin tonight. For 1 week, keep a new kind of ledger. Do not record the money you have earned. Instead, record the units of value you have created, the problems you have solved, or the processes you have improved. This simple shift in accounting will begin to rewire your brain, moving your focus from the consequence to the cause. which is the secret to bending the economic universe to your will. Wealth, in its essence, is an organized force. It does not flow toward chaos, uncertainty, or the void. It flows, as water does, along the paths of least resistance toward structures of order, predictability, and efficiency. The universe itself is a testament to this principle, a cosmos born from the imposition of laws upon chaos. To attract wealth, you must first become an agent of order in your chosen domain. My obsession was with the sublime beauty of a perfectly functioning machine. I viewed waste not as a financial loss, but as a deep moral and aesthetic offense. Every drop of oil spilled, every inefficient movement of a worker, every unnecessary step in a process was a sin against the logic of an ordered universe. The pursuit of profit was a crude motivator. The pursuit of perfection, of a system without friction, was a divine calling. Herein lies a crucial distinction. The average man works within a system, while the master of wealth architects the system itself. One is a cog, replaceable and subject to the machine's whims. The other is the engineer, the creator. Your goal should not be to merely find a good position within an existing engine, but to design and build a new, superior engine that works tirelessly for you, even in your absence. The true product I was selling was not kerosene. The product was the Standard Oil system itself, a breathtakingly efficient machine for logistics, refinement, and distribution. It was a monument to order. The oil was merely the commodity that passed through its veins. Others sold oil. I sold certainty, reliability, and the systematic elimination of waste. The world did not pay me for the liquid. It paid me for the perfection of the system that delivered it. This philosophy must extend to every facet of your own life. Your personal finances, your career progression, your daily schedule, your very health. These are not random occurrences, but systems. You must approach them as an engineer. Where is the chaos? Where is the waste? Where can order be imposed to produce a more powerful and predictable outcome? Treat your life as your first and most important enterprise. You must therefore adopt the mindset of an architect. See the world not as a series of random events and opportunities, but as a vast collection of interconnected systems. Your function is not to react to these systems, but to understand them, improve them, and where necessary, design entirely new ones that serve your purpose more effectively. This is the view from the summit, and it is from this vantage point that empires are built. The common man commits a grave error. He worships money. He places it upon an altar, granting it a power and an intelligence it does not possess. The true master of wealth sees money for what it is, a tool. It is no different from a hammer, a shovel, or a draft horse. It is a useful, powerful, but ultimately inert instrument that requires a master's hand and a clear purpose to have any effect on the world. The function of capital, once acquired, is to serve as an army. Every single dollar is a soldier. Its sole duty is to march into the battlefield of the marketplace, engage the enemy of inefficiency, and return with prisoners' returns on investments, which can then be trained and conscripted into your growing army. A dollar sitting idle in a bank account is a deserter, a traitor to the cause of building your empire. My famous ledger, where I counted for every last penny, was not born of avarice as so many mistakenly believed. It was the meticulous record-keeping of a commanding general. I respected each dollar not for its own sake, but for its potential as a soldier in my campaign. To misplace or waste a single cent was to disrespect the potential of my entire army. It was an act of strategic discipline, not personal greed. This instrumental view fosters a necessary emotional detachment. You must be able to watch vast sums of money flow into and out of your control without the slightest tremor of euphoria or panic. They are merely numbers on a page, indicators of the health and performance of the systems you have built. Emotion is the enemy of sound judgment, and nowhere is this truer than in the realm of finance. The two emotions most commonly associated with money, fear and greed, are the absolute worst advisors a person can have. Greed will blind you to risk, causing you to overextend and build on foundations of sand. Fear will paralyze you, causing you to miss opportunities and retreat at the very moment that bold action is required. Both are manifestations of an emotional attachment to money as a thing in itself. Your goal is to cultivate a state of instrumental indifference. Treat your capital with the same cool, detached respect that a master surgeon affords his scalpel. He values it for its function, he keeps it sharp, and he wields it with precision, but he feels no sentimental attachment to the steel itself. It is a means to an end, and that end is the successful completion of the operation, not the ownership of the tool. The physical universe operates on a fundamental law of concentration. Diffuse energy is weak and accomplishes little. The sun's rays, spread over a field, merely warm it. But those same rays, when focused through a magnifying glass onto a single point, can ignite a fire. The creation of anything of great value, a star, a company, a fortune, requires the same monomaniacal concentration of energy and attention. My entire world, for decades, was oil. I did not distract myself with the siren cause of railroads, steel, or banking, though opportunities abounded. My singular purpose was to understand, to organize, and to dominate every single facet of this one industry, from the moment the crude oil left the ground to the moment its refined product lit a lamp in a distant farmhouse. This was my single point of focus. The modern gospel of diversification is a strategy for the preservation of wealth, not its creation. It is a defensive maneuver for those who have already won the war. The act of building a fortune from nothing, however, is an act of offense, and it requires the exact opposite: a focused, almost obsessive, all-in commitment to a single, well-understood domain. To spread your forces thin during the primary assault is to guarantee defeat. When you are utterly immersed in the task of perfecting a system or solving a great problem, your mind simply has no available capacity to worry about money. The intensity of your focus crowds out all lesser concerns: the daily fluctuations of the market, the opinions of critics, the desire for luxury. All of it becomes irrelevant noise, a distraction from the vital work at hand. This is the state of flow as applied to the creation of value. In this state, the work itself is the reward. The deep satisfaction comes from solving the puzzle, from making the machine run more smoothly, from bringing a grand vision into reality. Money, when it arrives, feels less like a prize and more like a surprising but logical byproduct of an activity you would have gladly performed for its own sake. Therefore, you must choose your domain. You must select one field, one problem, one craft, and make a solemn vow to become one of the most knowledgeable and effective practitioners in the world. Do not dabble, do not hedge. Concentrate your life's energy into that single point until it becomes so hot that it sets the world ablaze. This is the path of the master, and there is no other. The world teaches you to go out and search for opportunities. This is a fundamental error in navigation that leads to a life of fruitless wandering. The correct strategy is the complete inversion of this principle. Do not seek opportunities. Become the opportunity. Transform yourself into such a nexus of competence, reliability, and value that opportunities have no choice but to seek you out for their own survival and success. Capital is fundamentally cowardly. It flees from risk, uncertainty, and incompetence. Its single greatest desire is to find a safe harbor where it can be preserved and multiplied. When you establish yourself as a bastion of undeniable excellence in your field, capital is drawn to you as iron filings are drawn to a powerful magnet. It will compete for the privilege of being put to work under your command. My reputation was never built on being likable. It was built on being inevitable. Shippers knew their product would be moved on schedule. Refiners knew the crude would arrive as promised. Consumers knew the kerosene would be pure and the price fair. My word was the bedrock, and the trust it generated was a currency far more valuable than any paper money. In the grand ledger of business, a flawless reputation is the ultimate asset. You must dedicate your energy to the act of being rather than the act of having. Cease your obsession with acquiring the trappings of success and instead cultivate an obsessive focus on becoming a person of such profound skill and integrity that success is the only possible outcome. When your competence is undeniable, the world will eagerly trade the fruits of its labor for the fruits of yours. True competence generates its own gravitational field. In the beginning, you must exert immense energy to move forward. But as your skill, your systems, and your reputation grow, you will reach a tipping point, a moment when the dynamic shifts. Instead of you pushing out into the world begins to pull toward you. People, resources, capital, and ideas will begin to orbit you, drawn in by the sheer force of your value. The path to this state is mastery, and mastery is not a destination you arrive at, but a daily, relentless process of refinement. It is the humble, often tedious, commitment to being slightly better today than you were yesterday. It is this unwavering dedication to the craft itself, stripped of any desire for external reward, that silently forges the magnetic core of your enterprise. The great affliction of the modern age is the disease of haste. The masses crave instant gratification, demanding wealth now, without process or patience. They are like amateur gardeners who plant a seed in the morning and expect to harvest a great oak by evening. The architect of empires, however, thinks in terms of decades. He understands that great things are not built, they are grown. Consider the planting of a sequoia. You do not place the seed in the earth and then dig it up every week to check on the progress of the roots. To do so would kill the very thing you wish to grow. Instead, you provide the right conditions: fertile soil, water, sunlight, and then you trust in the inexorable, silent and powerful process of time. My enterprises were not gambles, they were sequoias. My investments were never speculative bets on a volatile future. They were the logical conclusions of observable trends, patiently waiting to unfold over a sufficiently long time horizon. I did not need to be lucky. I needed only to be right about the fundamental direction of things and then possess the fortitude to wait. Patience is the alchemy that transforms calculated probability into cold, hard certainty. The awesome power of compound interest must be applied not only to your money, but to every aspect of your life. Your knowledge, your reputation, your systems, your relationships, they all compound. A 1% improvement in a system, repeated daily for a decade, does not result in a system that is merely better. It results in an entirely new creation of unrecognizable power and efficiency. A genuine long-term perspective grants you immunity to the noise of the market. The daily panics, the euphoric bubbles, the endless chatter of so-called experts, all of it becomes insignificant. You are not playing their game of quarterly returns. You are playing the long game, the game of enduring value. And on that timescale, the daily gyrations of the market are nothing more than the twitching of a dying animal. In a world that is pathologically obsessed with speed, the ability to be patient is a supreme strategic advantage. It allows you to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast your competitors, who will inevitably burn themselves out in a frenzy of short-term activity. The patient man waits for the mountain to come to him. He does not waste his energy trying to charge up its sheer cliffs. He knows that with time, all things are possible. There is a final stage in the mastery of wealth, a plane of understanding that few ever reach. It is the realization that money, having been mastered as a tool for building, must finally be seen as a social resource to be systematically deployed for the greater good. It is the ultimate act of detachment, the final step in proving that you control it, and it does not control you. The establishment of my great philanthropic foundations was not an act of simple charity or giving back. It was the logical continuation of my life's work. It was the construction of new self-perpetuating systems designed to create value of a higher order, the eradication of disease, the advancement of education, the fostering of scientific discovery. It was the same architectural mindset applied to the problems of humanity itself. This final act of systematic deployment reinforces the core mentality that you are merely a temporary steward, a custodian of the capital that has flowed through your hands. This understanding frees you completely from the psychological prison of ownership. You cannot lose that which you never truly believed was yours to begin with. You are simply a conduit for a powerful force. Here lies the ultimate paradox. The most effective way to become a permanent magnet for wealth is to have a clear, logical, and systematic plan for how you will eventually redistribute it. This intention, held firmly in the mind, signals to the universe that you are not a dead-end reservoir where capital stagnates, but a dynamic channel through which it can flow to accomplish great things. This shifts your fundamental question from how much can I accumulate for myself, to what enduring structures of value can I build that will outlast me. To think in terms of legacy is to play the infinite game. It aligns your personal ambition with the broad sweep of human progress, making you a partner with forces far greater than your own lifespan or personal desires. This mindset, the mindset of the conduit rather than the reservoir, aligns you with the natural laws of abundance in a way that selfish hoarding never can. The universe rewards flow, not stagnation. By becoming a master architect of systems, first for profit, and then for purpose, you complete the cycle and ensure that the flow of value, and therefore wealth, through your life never ceases. This philosophy, while elegant in theory, is worthless without daily discipline. It must be forged into your reality through consistent practice. The first and most crucial step is to change how you keep score. You must abandon the metrics of the masses and adopt the accounting of the creator. Therefore, you will cease the obsessive counting of money. Instead, you will devise your own more meaningful metrics. Measure your days not in dollars earned, but in units of value created, systems optimized, or problems solved. Create a private scoreboard that reflects what truly matters in the construction of your empire. Let this be your new guidepost, your true north. Each night, before you sleep, the question you ask yourself must change. Do not check your bank balance or your investment portfolio. Instead, ask this: is the engine I am building more powerful, more efficient, and more elegant today than it was yesterday? This is the only question that a true architect of value needs to answer. The rest is merely noise. Create for yourself a value ledger. This can be a simple notebook or a document. In it, you will track your progress in your chosen areas of mastery, your steps in the design of your systems, and the impact of the problems you are solving. You will deliberately and consciously ignore direct financial metrics in this sacred space. Its purpose is to train your focus on the cause, not the effect. Practice a new form of visualization. Do not waste your mental energy picturing the mansions, the cars, or the luxuries that money can buy. Instead, visualize the flawless operation of your system. See it in your mind's eye, a perfectly calibrated machine, humming with quiet efficiency, effortlessly serving thousands, or even millions, of people. Feel the deep satisfaction of that perfect order. This is the true prize. This is the daily work. This is the deliberate, conscious, and sometimes difficult task of diverting your mental and emotional energy away from the effect mignon, focusing it with laser-like intensity upon the cause, the creation of systematic value. This is how the paradox ceases to be a theory and becomes your lived, operational reality. This is how you stop thinking about money and, in doing so, command it to come to you. The great secret is this: money is deaf. It cannot hear you when you call its name or beg for its attention. It is, however, acutely sensitive to vibration. It can feel the resonant hum of a well-run system, the powerful thrum of deep competence, and the silent, irresistible gravitational pull of concentrated value. Your task is not to chase the butterfly of wealth, but to build a garden of such breathtaking beauty in order that the butterflies have no choice but to come and seek you out. In the comments below, Share the one system or area of value you now commit to building, not for the money, but for the sake of excellence itself. Let that declaration be the first entry in your new mental ledger.